BBC under scrutiny. Local residents criticize the public broadcaster for ignoring migrant crime issues. Recently, community voices throughout the UK have openly criticized the BBC, claiming the broadcaster neglects to adequately report on crimes related to migrants and fails to reflect the worries of local residents. What residents are saying. Critics assert that the BBC often favors political narratives surrounding migration over reporting on the social consequences that affect daily life, particularly when these consequences relate to crime, housing pressures, or public services. They believe this creates a gap between citizens' experiences and the news they receive. One outspoken local newspaper column suggests that the BBC skirts around stories considered unpleasant or politically sensitive, hindering public discussion on issues such as immigration fraud, local disputes, and perceived shortcomings in public safety. Headlines versus community life. A BBC board-commissioned review on migration conducted by Dr. Madeline Sumption, released in May 2024, found no clear bias in coverage but highlighted significant risks to impartiality due to an overly narrow emphasis on political figures and Westminster narratives, rather than those from community members and their lived experiences. Participants in focus groups expressed annoyance that migration-related stories frequently lacked proper context. For example, the differences between asylum seekers and other types of migrants were often muddled, and reports of small boat arrivals were disproportionately highlighted compared to overall migration trends. Critics point to the tendency to avoid discussing matters like immigration fraud and crimes committed by migrants, due to reporters' fears of being labeled as racist or inciting controversy. Case studies and historical context. Actual in-depth investigative reports by the BBC, such as a 2008 investigation revealing a criminal network within Southall's undocumented migrant community, show that the broadcaster can conduct thorough reporting on migrant crime when it decides to. However, critics contend that such investigative journalism is infrequent and unpredictable. Furthermore, notable incidents like the Rotherham grooming exploitation cases have triggered government-ordered audits that unveiled data suppression and a reluctance to disclose the ethnic background of offenders. Baroness Casey's 2025 national audit indicated that nearly two-thirds of convictions in Rotherham involved men of Pakistani heritage, yet racial data was frequently obscured or omitted, raising issues surrounding transparency and potentially the media's reluctance to address such complexities.